now that we're up to date. Whereas the town of Shandaken recognizes the importance of preserving its natural beauty and viewscapes throughout the town, and whereas Columbus Day weekend is recognized as a highly desirable time for visitors to travel to our area and enjoy the pristine beauty of Shandaken. Therefore, the town board of Shandaken requests the campaign signs for the general election, regardless of party affiliation or contest, not to be displayed until after Columbus Day, Monday, October 14th, 2019, and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor Stan?
Yes.
Resolution 11319, resolution authorizing waiver of a 30-day notification required by the New York State Liquor Authority. Whereas Tito Banditos LLC, 302 Main Street, Pine Hill, New York, 12465, has applied for a liquor license, and whereas Tito Banditos has requested that the town waive the 30-day notification required by the New York State Liquor Authority in an effort to expedite the granting of a liquor license to Tito Banditos, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Shandaken does hereby grant the request of the Titos Banditos and does hereby waive the 30-day liquor license notice requirement to Tito Banditos, 302 Main Street, Pine Hill, New York, 12465, and I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Supervisor Stan?
Yes. Yeah, you can't really go to Greek food after you name your place TV.
I tried to write that as much as
Tito
With that,
Banditos.
which of you gentlemen wanted to speak first? Was it Kevin or Henry or?
Henry.
And
We'll turn
you're
it over.
pointing at each other.
We're going to turn it over to James Gillespie, project manager,
Okay.
to discuss the bidding of the sewer district initial replacement work.
Good evening, everyone. We officially received approval from DEP for the septic maintenance district for the 24 systems. And what I also wanted to hand out to you to distribute is a prospective bidding schedule so that we can meet your next month's meeting to get the resolution to accept the bids. In order to make that happen, my plan is to have the advertisement to the Daily Freeman by tomorrow. They asked for a 2-day lead time, so we're looking at advertising in Thursday on September 12th paper. Our office will be sending out invitations to contractors, plan houses, just so we get the word out there that the project is out to bid. Our plan is to hold a pre-bid conference on September 24th here at the town. Basically invite contractors in to learn about the project. Usually we take them up, do a site walk, show them the 24 systems that we're looking at for the bid, so that they're well informed of the project. I put on here that we would have the bids due on October 3rd. Bids due here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If that's okay, if that meets the town schedule.
You haven't sent it to me, right? Yeah.
So we would meet here, we would open the bids, we would take the bids, we would review them, make sure they're accurate as far as the math. We would call references, and we're looking to make a recommendation to the town for your board meeting on the 7th, confirming that it's the 7th. So that's our bid schedule. It's kind of aggressive. We like to give contractors, being that there are 24 systems here, we like to give them at least 3 weeks to review the plans and specs, exactly what they're bidding. So unless you guys have any objections, that's going to be our plan starting tomorrow, is to get it in the paper and get it going.
Makes sense.
Anything else you want to discuss?
Access agreement status.
Access agreements, yes. We are out of the 24, there are still 8 that we are missing, that haven't been turned in yet. I think that's the,
Yeah, this is all up to date on the list. There's been nobody in weeks that said that.
okay, yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what we,
how many are missing?
8 out of
Oh,
24 that we
So,
still don't have. It could, you know, we run into this on other,
lack of interest?
no, it's not lack of interest, it's just people forget about it, they lose them, they turn them in, and we usually do some follow-up calls.
Yeah.
I don't know, Evans, if you'll
We just started.
start some follow-up and.
I can give you the file. Do you want the originals?
Yeah,
Got
we
that
can-
here in my office, like,
sure.
when we go down?
Yep, I can give you a, basically a spreadsheet that we did showing which ones those are. This is according to Kevin's office.
Yeah.
Nancy, if you still
I'll give
want.
you the hard copies and you can have it.
Well, let the town keep the
You
original.
want them? Okay.
I'd rather the town.
All right, well, I'll go through them and see if there's anything we missed, but you'll follow up with the people, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, we run into this in, you know, the other communities that we're doing the septic maintenance districts, and some of it is just keeping on and following up, making sure that they get it to the town. You know, basically we tell them we're not gonna come onto your property and construct a system until we have it, so that usually gets them moving and. Should get it. What else is on there?
You have that handout that shows which property owner gets what kind of.
Yeah, that's part of that. Should hand out more of those.
We got that in the packet.
Those are the system, yeah, what I did, again, I could, yeah, that's the same thing I gave Joyce, I should distribute up there. Just a spreadsheet that shows the 24 systems, which ones have the access agreements, their address, and gives just a brief description of the type of septic system that they'd be getting.
That's your score sheet.
The score sheet.
What happens if you don't get these 8 people to sign?
Well,
They don't get a.
they don't get a system put in until they have it,
Yeah.
so.
We're not gonna access the property.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And the way the sewer use law is drafted, you know, they have to agree to give us access.
Right.
And with that, when they give us access, they're also giving us a release of liability. In other words, we're giving them something, but we don't want to take responsibility for the operation of the leach field.
Right.
You know, because they're the ones that live there, they're the ones that put stuff down the drain. So we're not taking on that responsibility. So the access agreement is kind of confusing.
Oh, yeah, no, oh, you're right, I'm sorry.
Good.
Alternatives? Alternative systems? You want to
Enhanced
speak up?
systems?
Yeah.
Enhanced. Well,
Enhanced.
okay, let's indicate that property owner named Sanchez.
Frank Sanchez. We did, he called, he's in the process of renovating his house. And where we initially showed his system, we had to kind of loop all the way around his house to get to it. He says, with the renovation, I can make modifications to my house so I can discharge my sewer pipe out the back if that makes things easier. It did, we did that. The only issue we ran into his property where we sited the leach field is that we hit some groundwater. So we would have had to elevate his system. When I say elevate him, you know, probably 1.18 inches. There was another area in the front of his house, between his house and the Todd's house, but it was all overgrown. A lot of shrubs and, you know, bushes there, so we didn't investigate that. He had asked if that could be a potential site, so he went in there, he cleared it out. We did some testing recently, and it showed that it would be favorable to put this system there. We submitted that to DEP to see if that was okay. So that would be a potential change during construction, just the location of where we're putting his absorption field. So as it's bid right now, we're gonna go with our original plan with the elevated system, but that could just be a potential change in the contract when we do it. Just wanted to let you you guys know about that one.
Now, the subject of offering enhanced treatment to 10 of the 24 properties is a little bit intertwined with the bidding. So if you decide to let us do the bidding this way, what we would do, if you have an interest in offering an enhanced treatment, is we would add the enhanced treatment to the bid package as a change of work item to bid with stipulated prices, so that if we eventually decide to add the enhancements, we can just do it by change order. All right. I'll keep that in mind. We talked a little bit about the enhanced treatment. This is not really a new topic, as it was brought up in the preliminary engineer's report. And it's not required that we do this under the watershed rules and regulations, and that's demonstrated by the city approval of plans without it, which we have. You have a letter on it. Now, I don't intend to go through this letter in detail and the attachments with it. I just want you to have it because you may want to look further into the details at your leisure, because of course the final decision on this is not to be made tonight. But this is the letter that Alan Rosa, CWC, sent to Rob, or at least it's my version of it. There's 10 properties. They're listed on the letter. We identified them as parcels that could benefit from an enhanced treatment system. An enhanced treatment system is a pretty simple concept. Your standard, or what we call conventional septic system, is a septic tank and a leach field. These properties are not big enough to site their leach field 100 feet away from their well, which is a regulatory requirement when you're doing new construction. So the preliminary engineer's report prescribed both the enhanced systems and the remote systems as a solution for those situations. And the enhanced system is simply the addition of a biofilter between the septic tank, which is where the water goes first, would be then the biofilter and then the leach field. And the biofilter will further clean up the wastewater before it goes to the leach field, giving an advantage to the system.
Explain what a biofilter is, and does it need a lot of maintenance, and is that going to be part of the package, or is it something that you could just put in that place and you could forget about it?
Okay, to start with, a biofilter is a filter that uses biology to take the pollutants that are in solution, and that's all you have after the septic tank, is the solids settle out there. And they build their bodies with it, and those bodies are insoluble. So they stay in the biofilter, and then the cleaner wastewater goes out.
Right.
So
So
that's
is
what
this
you want.
something that needs to be cleaned out annually, that kind of thing?
No. Depending on the systems used, we're recommending in your case one textile biofilter and 9 peat biofilters, peat moss. So the peat moss is biodegradable, of course, and so there is at some point the peat moss will have to be pulled out and replaced. The manufacturer anticipates in sort of a cautious way that will happen every 15 years. And but the CWC has put in many of these, and the oldest ones haven't been cleaned, are about 20 years old and haven't been cleaned out yet, haven't had to be cleaned out yet. Now they will have to be inspected as part of your district management to see when it needs it. And the annual cost of pumping them, of replacing the peat every 15 years plus the annual cost of pump replacement, which is anticipated to be 15 years in the worst case, and all other costs of operation and maintenance of the peat biofilter septic system, like tank pump solids, is estimated to be $540 a year. Per system.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And the block grant is sufficient to fund that, which I'll get into a little deeper in a minute. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
To give you an idea, the peat biofilter removes 84% of total organic carbon, 98% of fecal coliform, 40% of phosphorus, and 70% of nitrogen. And the textile filter, 96% of biological oxygen demand, total suspended solids, 88%, fecal coliform, 97%. So it will provide, in a sense, belt and suspenders to enhance the treatment. It goes for the sewage that goes in the
So then it
ground.
will also increase the life of the leach field?
Yes, it will, yeah. Okay, so, if you remember from the preliminary engineer's report, we did an analysis of costs in order to come up with what the request was for the block grant. The block grant's $6.77 million. And again, I don't think we should get into the details of what was said in the preliminary engineer's report, because I basically just repeated it. There's certain lots where the soils are poor and the lots are so small that we can't get the system away from the well sufficiently. So I'm not going to go over these, but you can look at that at your leisure. What I'd really like to show you is from the preliminary engineer's report, this financial analysis. Now, having an endowment for a public works project like this is a little unusual. I would guess you probably haven't had a project like that. We've done a few. So it raises the question of how to budget a block grant, because a block grant, in this case, forms an endowment that has to be used to operate and maintain the systems and replace the. So we made a bunch of assumptions in the preliminary engineer's report. Among them that your rate of return on the endowment would be 2%. That inflation of construction costs and operation and maintenance costs would average 3.33% over the life of the project. And we estimated operation and maintenance costs, and we proposed that in maybe not a worst case, but a very cautious approach would be to assume that you'll have to replace every single system once. And you also have 5 vacant lots where we budgeted for replacement of their septic systems if they ever get built on after the person builds their own septic system, if they have to replace it. And we determined that the endowment would last, with those assumptions, at least 41 years. Now, among the other assumptions, based on looking at the limitations on each lot, and they're in handwriting on your handout here, we thought we'd replace about a third, based on other projects, of the systems in the initial package. Actually, we're going to do 28. Now, the difference between the 24 that's in the bid package and 28 is the 4 that we want to put to a remote site. Those lots have even worse restraints. And we'll talk about that later. We anticipated that 16 systems would be conventional, 11 would be special conventional, which are mostly raised bed systems. Enhanced systems would be only 9, and remote leach fields would be 19. That was prior to CW's inspections of all the systems, where they found that we needed to replace 28. But another thing that we found was that we needed to do more enhanced systems and less remote systems. So, based on that new data, we have reanalyzed the finances of the district. And that's on this handout. And again, if you want to, you can study this at your leisure and give me a call if you have questions. So, where we figured 16 conventional systems out of 60 is going to be 46%, which is just under half instead of 16 out of 60. And where we figured remote leach fields 19, which is almost a third, we're only going to have 14%. So we had some bids come in on nearby communities, and so we had some better data for bid pricing. Your project, of course, is a bid, and as Kevin pointed out to me before the meeting, you may want to defer a final decision until you get the bids. But in any event, with those bids and these other assumptions, other facts, initial replacements 28, and one system per year, just like the other one, the down turns out to last quite a bit longer. 64 years at 2% rate of return. And I analyzed the other potential rates of return, just in case you wanted to see how sensitive it is to your rate of return. It's fairly sensitive. If the rate of return is only 1.5, it'll last 55 years, at 2.5, 75 years. I think this is a pretty cautious approach to budgeting for the district. I don't think you'll end up having to do one a year after this first 28. I'd be very surprised if you had to do one a year. It turns out it's not a big problem that you're replacing almost a third instead of, or almost half instead of a third. Because of course when inflation's at 3.3% and rate of return's at 2, it gets more expensive to replace than your earned money is earning. So it turns out to be maybe a good thing if you have to replace a bunch of it. Right. Although, you know, maybe back end might be problematic. So this enhanced system is going to cost, peat biofilter is going to cost $540 a year if we have to replace the pump and the peat every 15 years. And that includes the pump outs every 3 years. Problem with it is that we need to insist that the homeowner understands is that once you put an enhancement in a sewer septic system in the watershed, you have to keep that enhancement forever. So that's about basically the idea. Right?
Yeah, once you add it, you can't take it away. So if at some point we run out of money, the obligation will shift back to the property owner to operate it, and maintain it, and replace it.
But that decision is wholly up to the landowner as to whether they want to move forward with an enhanced system as opposed to the
And that's
conventional.
what
You
St.
said
Henry's
the
saying.
DEP has approved all conventional systems and no enhanced? we don't have to do enhanced systems?
That's right.
Okay, so what is this then, this deficit, starting in year 76 of 30,000 and then going right to 426,000 deficit in 77? What is that all about?
That's all about the fact that in 75 years, the fund would be depleted based on this.
Right.
So that's why it goes to a deficit. That's how we,
But
that's
it's
how we
going
recognize it.
to a deficit, is that saying it's going, the septic systems are gonna have to all be replaced or something?
No, your endowment is
No,
used up.
I'm saying it went from 30,000 to 426,000 in 1 year. What does that mean?
Okay, let me try and find out
That's
where.
your, here, it's this one is your last page on this.
The very last page.
Yeah.
Okay, this is, okay, the title of that, box,
Right.
I guess maybe I don't have the last page. So the very last page of the handout,
Yeah,
right?
very last page is the operations and maintenance beyond 33 years.
Yes, so the reserve would be depleted.
Yeah, that's kind of a never gonna happen thing, that's
76 years.
26, that's, if you kept the district running, if all these assumptions prove true, and you kept the district running after you ran out of money, that's what your deficit would be. I don't think you would do that, so it might have been wise if we left those last two lines off.
Okay, but it's, I mean, we won't see it in our lifetime, but we're leaving it for other people who will be seeing it in their lifetime. And will these systems, I mean, who's gonna maintain them, who's gonna pay to maintain them after 75 years?
It will, assuming the town